released photographs of abducted victims. Ben Ayade joins presidential race as Orji Kalu steps down. Aspirants storm APC secretariat to get nomination and expression of interest forms as political activities intensify. Away from Nigeria, Myanmar's deposed leader Aung San Suu Kyi sentenced to another 5 years for corruption. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for joining. Beginning with security matters, terrorists on Tuesday released photos of passengers abducted from a Kaduna-bound train a month ago. The bandits had earlier released video footages of the hostages. At least 9 persons were killed and 26 others wounded when the terrorists bombed and sprayed the train with bullets, forcing it to derail. Residents of Adagba community in Yaba ward of Abaji area council of the FCT have fled their homes after bandits attacked the community, killing a 23-year-old man, Nura Maigada, and a girl, stealing about 20 motorcycles. The bandits were said to have also abducted about 16 residents of the community and carted away food items and cash. Trust TV's Maradia visited the community and now reports.
Adagba community, home to over 1,500 people, is about 40 kilometers drive from Abaji town. On our way to the community, we see residents carrying their belongings and fleeing to safety.
The rate of insecurity in this part of town is becoming unbearable. It didn't just happen in Adagba community in Yaba ward in the Abaji local government or Abaji area council, so to speak, but it also happened in neighboring villages where people are already scampering for safety. As you can see behind me in the Yaba Lafia community, very close to the Adagba community in the Yaba ward, Abaji area council of the Federal Capital Territory, people are already making their way out of the community because they fear the worst. And that is the situation of things right now.
The Madaki of Adagba, Adamu Bay, surrounded by the rest of the villages yet to flee, speaks about how a home to more than 1,500 residents has turned to a ghost town.
We have to go to forest, far place, to go and sleep. Because of them, they may come at any time. The way they used to come. They may come at any time, the way they used to come. And one will say we will sleep at home now. We don't know what may happen. Now we kill. They're now coming not to pick anybody. They're coming for slaughter. That is what they promise. Nothing is done. And from that turning back to go back to the where they came from, the villages, so that they cannot be able to sleep today without this security, they decide to leave the village. Now we are now just for those of us that are eldest people in the village, we are not more than up to 10 now.
A health worker who is also an eyewitness tells his story.
I came here weekend to survey my clinic and discover that kidnappers came in the night and everybody was running, taking care of his life. So even we, the staff in Adagba PHC, we enter inside the clinic. We hide ourselves. You know, when we enter, we even leave the door open because when they discover that the door is open, they will think that there's nobody. The quarters where it is locked, they even try to open the window to check whether people are inside. So we hide ourselves inside the clinic, hearing what is going on, shooting bullets, calling people, breaking doors. People were running everywhere in the night.
On our way out of the community, we met the village head just returning from a security meeting which had in attendance the chairman of Abaji Area Council and security agents. He tells us the new security arrangements put in place.
This change is affecting us, so I go to the chief of Yaba, tell him that this is what is happened to us, to Adagba village. So from there, he said, we called the commissioner of police and the area council executive chairman. So for that, we discussed with him. That's what is happened to us. He said, the chairman said he will take the action.
The people of Adagba are begging for prompt security response as the attackers have promised to return before the end of the Ramadan fast. Martia Umar, Trust Television News, Abuja.
Trust TV speaks to the public relations officer of the FCT Police Command on measures to restore normalcy in the community.
But the Commissioner of Police, CP Babaji Sunday, has launched an operation that has been going in there to comb the forest. We always talk about this synergy with the locals because they know the terrain very well. And the hunters know all these areas, they know the bush, the forest very well. So we've been with them, we've been mobilized, and we are going inside the forest. Day and night we are there. We were able to rescue some victims that we were not even reported. But because of that operation, it really yielded a lot of results. And some of the victims were even telling us that they heard that the police are coming. And I think these people are working with very serious informants. That is why we don't really want to tell the public what we are really doing.
Away from that, Cross River State Governor Professor Ben Ayade Tuesday in Abuja said he had secured the approval of President Muhammadu Buhari to hold consultations leading up to unveiling his plans to contest for the presidential ticket of the All Progressives Congress. He also declared to rally behind former President Goodluck Jonathan if Jonathan emerges the APC's presidential flag bearer ahead of the next year's election. Ayade disclosed this to State House correspondents shortly after his meeting with the president at Aso Rock Villa, Abuja. The report.
The Cross River State Governor joins the list of presidential hopefuls on the platform of the All Progressives Congress. His entry is a surprise, but he claims he was actually preempted by President Buhari and asked to join the race.
I am also giving it out as a lesson for those who know what is called loyalty. That while I sought to align with the president said, you two be out there and let's see how it goes. So if you ask me the question, am I running? My answer is that I am running because the president have said, you go while I watch.
And what does he intend to do if he gets to be president?
I do not believe that the forces of demand and supply should dictate the value of our currency. The value of our currency is a reflection of the integrity of the nation. No foreign direct investment can come into a country whose local currency is not strong enough. If a country like Malta, a country like Kuwait, will have an irreversible conversion rate, Nigeria has no business subjecting our currency to the forces of demand and supply, all things being equal, when we know the concept of ceteris paribus never applies in real life. Therefore, there must be a structural and normative framework intended squarely to address the exchange rate between the naira and the dollar. 1st October 2023, our Independence Day, the dollar rate to naira will be fixed.
With the plethora of presidential aspirants on the platform of the ruling party, things are starting to look very much like the contest in 2007. Then, former President Olusegun Obasanjo encouraged whoever came to ask for his blessing to join the race. Of course, the aspirant least expected to emerge became the candidate of the ruling party. From State House Abuja, Kehinde Amudu, Trust TV News.
Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal on Tuesday held a closed-door meeting with President Muhammadu Buhari at the State House in Abuja. Tambuwal, after the meeting, declined to brief State House correspondents on the outcome of the meeting. However, sources say that the meeting is not unconnected with the state of the nation, especially insecurity, where terrorists have resumed the bombings that greeted the pre-2015 election period. Although Tambuwal is of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, feelers have it that the two leaders delved into the recent political happenings in the country. Aspirants into various elective positions under the platform of the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC) are beginning to trickle to the party secretariat in Abuja to obtain their expression of interest and nomination forms. Trust TV's Shafiu Suleiman reports that the commencement of the exercise ignited a beehive of activities as it electrifies the national secretariat of the party.
The commencement of sales of nomination forms and, of course, the interest forms at the All Progressives Congress Secretariat here in Abuja have electrified, activities at the Secretariat. As you can see behind me, political supporters and other interests, especially those who are engaged in petty businesses, have also commenced their activities, in top gear. They are cashing in on this exercise, which will certainly bring a lot of crowd, to the Secretariat.
I came here to purchase the form for the State House of Assembly. We women, we are being given concession and we are being promised free our form. It's only the expression form that we are going to buy.
Which is?
This is 500,000.
As aspirants across the country continue to trickle into the APC Secretariat here in Abuja, a woman aspirant just told us how she obtained her nomination form and her expression of interest form at just 500,000 naira instead of 2 million naira, which was the official tag for those aspiring for State House of Assembly elections in their respective state. Remember, the APC had pegged its presidential nomination form and expression of interest at 100 million naira, and that of the governors at 50 million naira, while the senators, those aspiring for the Senate, will have to pay 20 million naira, and House of Representatives aspirants would have to part way with 10 million naira. At the party secretariat here, we're beginning to see a number of aspirants, coming in to obtain these forms. From the APC Secretariat here in Abuja, Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News.
Staying with political matters, Chief Whip of the Senate, Orji Uzor Kalu, has dropped out of the presidential race, hinting that he will rather channel his energy towards returning to the Senate at the end of the 9th National Assembly. Senator Kalu announced his decision on Tuesday through his verified Instagram page, explaining that there was no point in joining the contest without the full support of other regions. The former two-term governor of Abia State pointed out that 4 of the 6 geopolitical zones of the country have produced the president and vice president at different times, leaving out the southeast and the northeast regions. Since there is a clamor to zone the tickets to the south, he believes now is the time for leaders in the region to throw their weight behind the southeast to produce the next president. Away from politics, according to the World Health Organization, 1 in every 4 Nigerians suffers a mental health issue. This has made it imperative for people to pay attention to their mental health, as it has become a common occurrence to find more and more people dealing with issues of mental health today. Fatima Saleh-Laden has more.
One of the integral and essential components of human health is mental health. According to World Health Organization, mental health is fundamental to collective and individual ability as humans to think, emote, interact with each other, earn a living and enjoy life. Sadly, majority of people pay less or no attention to their mental health. In a chat with Trust TV, Dr. Nafisa Hayatuddin, a consultant psychiatrist, spoke on some of the causes of mental disorders.
People that are naturally worrisome. There are some people that just worry. They worry a lot over small issues and things like that. People like that are more likely to develop mental illnesses like anxiety disorders or depression.
She decried the negative impact of social stigma on cases of mental illness.
If today I stigmatize or ostracize somebody, I humiliate somebody because they have a mental illness, tomorrow I might be the one at the receiving end of this same treatment. So let us try to be more empathic and humane. Let us be more compassionate and try and empathize with people that are going through mental health challenges. assist them, offer them a shoulder to cry on. Let people be comfortable, be able to trust you and vent, share their problems with you, and then seek help for them.
Dr. Nafisa says despite the high burden of mental illness, it has thus far not received commensurate visibility and policy action on the part of the government.
Having vagrants on the streets, I feel, is a failure on the part of society, not just on the part of the relatives. Because if we had a society or a system that saw people with mental illness like me and you, nobody is immune to having a mental illness. So it becomes more difficult. They become the property of the state. They become the property of government. So we need to have more systems in place that can actually cater for the needs of people with mental illness.
She called on the government to prioritize mental health issues in its programs and activities. Fatima Sadaladen, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. Scavengers and security risk. Details and more coming shortly. Join us again.
Every patriotic Nigerian should hear this. Any politician who means well for the people will never allow themselves or their supporters to engage in any violent, destructive activities. No politician who truly wants to serve the people and develop the nation will encourage his followers to destroy properties or take human lives before, during, or after the elections. The Nigerian public must watch out for these traits and isolate any politician who encourages supporters to engage in violence. No genuine politician or patriot will cause trouble and seek to destroy the very society which they aspire to lead or develop. Politicians who have the good of the people at heart will not allow themselves or their followers to engage in violence, destruction of properties, and then taking of lives. Be vigilant. By their words you shall know them. Shun violence. Stay away from politicians who want you to do so. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NORA.
Thank you for saying you're watching Trust News Update. Let's take a look at some of the top stories again. Abuja Kaduna train attackers release photographs of abducted victims. Plus, Ben Ayade joins presidential race as Orji Kalu steps down. Elsewhere, 50 victims of last Friday's illegal refinery explosion have been given mass burial at Abezi Forest in Abacheke, Pofire community in Ohaji, Egbema local government area of Imo State. The burial came less than a week after the explosion killed more than 110 people. The exercise was supervised by the chairman of the local government, Marcel Amadioha, security agents and officials of the National Emergency Management Agency. The victims were buried in 3 graves dug by locals at about 5 p.m. on Tuesday. Chairman of the local government, who spoke to newsmen at the site, said 50 of the victims could not be identified. One of the youth leaders, Ben Marcos, who spoke to our correspondent, said some of the victims were identified by their relatives and were allowed to carry them for burial. He urged the government to provide employment for the teeming youths of the community to dissuade them from getting involved in such illegal and risky business. Now, after about 4 years of being banned, scavengers in the Federal Capital Territory are still very visible, not only in the approved dump sites, but across the city center. With the rising insecurity in the country, government and residents are concerned that scavenging is being used as a cover for crime and criminality. These concerns led to the ban on scavengers in the first place. Our correspondent looks at the enforcement of the ban vis-a-vis environmental implication.
Waste pickers, locally known as Babambola, play a significant role in protecting the environment from hazardous waste disposal practices, as well as serving as a source of livelihood in communities. However, some residents and government see the activities of waste pickers as a security threat, outweighing the benefits.
I am a member of the vigilante, and the moment I observe scavengers around, I suspect theft. Due to the activities of scavengers, it is no longer safe to keep items as they could be stolen. They could even burgle your house.
This CCTV footage shows a thief stealing a generator set in pretense of being a waste collector. But despite the ban on the activities of waste pickers by the Federal Capital Territory Administration in May 2018, hundreds of them thronged the streets of Abuja in search of disposed items to trade for cash.
My parents and friends are all in Kano. We have only come here to look for money. We pick items such as aluminium and copper wires. In this our business, we don't steal. Anyone found stealing here will be sanctioned.
A few weeks ago, the police arrested and paraded over 100 waste pickers for violating the initial ban on scavenging by the FCTA.
They use this Babambola system in order to start stealing. And that is why we say no. We have to be arresting them. So wherever you see them, you can call us on any of our lines. We want to clear them off FCT.
Experts have argued that rather than a ban on the activities of waste pickers, the FCTA should consider better ways of regulating their activities.
Communities need to realize that waste pickers are providing an essential social service. And if they are to be taken away, the health risk and environmental injuries within the society will be amplified. People will be going to hospitals more. People will be having environmentally related diseases more and more. So there has to be a balance. And the way this balance can be truly established is for AAPB, AMAC, and the clusters, because these waste pickers have clusters that are well organized.
Away from Nigeria, a court in military-ruled Myanmar has sentenced Aung San Suu Kyi to an additional 5 years in jail after finding the civilian leader guilty in the first of 11 corruption cases against her. The sentence was announced in Myanmar's capital, and on Wednesday, the judge handed down the verdict within moments of the court convening. And that wraps up Trust News Update. Connect with us via our social media platforms and also subscribe to our YouTube channel to watch more. I am Ayuba Ilya. Thank you for watching.